Welcome to the Conversion Show. Today we have our long-standing guest, Jon MacDonald from The Good. Welcome, Jon.
Thanks for having me once again.
So Jon's just coming fresh off his recent book tour. What is it? Digital book tour?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have something print and analog and then do all the promotions digitally. That's pretty much what I've done. Although I did get one speaking engagement out of it that I did in person that specifically approached because of the book. So, that was in person. That was analog. And yeah, really excited about how the launch has gone.
It's really the podcast tour these days.
Yeah, more than anything. And it's so easy, right? To just hop on for half hour, an hour, have a great conversation and reach hundreds of people. It's hard to do that from the convenience of your office on a daily basis.
So anyone that doesn't know Jon, look him up on LinkedIn. Jon MacDonald, we'll drop the link here. Jon is one of our closest conversion allies here in the industry. Jon is out there building programs, working with clients to ensure they optimize their digital experiences to convert. I was catching up on thegood.com and noticed you have the digital experience optimization program,
Yeah.
which as I run through it, it's, if I was running a retail business, any sort of business with a website, you would be the first person I call. All of a sudden,
Glad to
just
hear
looking
that. It means a lot coming from you.
yeah. So we'll drop the link to this too, and we'll actually going to touch on some of this stuff today. For the audience, what we're talking about today, what is it, July 17th, 2024, is really, Jon and I catch up every quarter. And today we're going to be talking about what's top of mind inside the walls at Justuno and also what Jon's seeing with his clients at The Good. Today, my focus with my team is on sales conversion. At Justuno, we have two main core areas: lead capture, sales conversion. And as we look at the sales conversion side, Jon, I want to bring up three segments that we as a company have drilled in on and are really focusing on what digital experience that visitor has when they come into Justuno or a client of Justuno. So there are three. The first one, and these are low-hanging fruit, quick wins with high conversion rates. It is the visitor who has added an item to their cart while on the site and then exit. So the cart abandoned.
Yep.
The second is that visitor who has abandoned a cart and left the site, returns to the site, and what experience do they have? That return visitor that abandoned a cart, we are achieving up to 30% sales conversion rate with that visitor segment.
That's great.
And then you have the third bucket, which is a general exiting visitor. This can be someone that has looked at a product page or just has not looked at anything. You can separate those two if you want. If you want to A/B test and go deeper. Obviously, someone who's looked at a product page has more intent than someone that is just gone to the homepage and abandoned. But if we look at those three buckets, and what we've really drilled into is talking about our visitors as segments. So these three segments are by targeting them and separating them and speaking to them and creating an experience for when they're either exiting or arriving on the site through either a modal, a banner, or an embedded widget. We are able to show immediate value to leveraging our own platform.
Right.
How does that resonate with you?
Well, I think you've hit on the 3 points that people would potentially exit. The challenging thing is a lot of people attack all of this through one way, and that's a exit intent banner. And that's like the only way they attack this is they're just waiting for people's mouse to move off their browser, and then they throw a pop-up. And honestly, it doesn't work extremely well. It can work, but it feels like a last-ditch effort. And it really kind of is, right? I think being able to send an email to somebody who has abandoned cart and bring them back into that purchase flow is going to be a pretty high opportunity area, especially if you can start a conversation with those people, right? Was there something holding you up from buying? Start a chat right now with our customer service team, right? Push people into having a conversation to explain why they didn't buy so that you can help them through that challenge. I think that's where the money is hidden in a lot of these cases.
So you mentioned the cart abandonment email.
Mm-hmm.
That is something I've really come to recognize in the email marketing and SMS space is
Right.
they've been able to attribute revenue so clearly to their customers because they say, look, we sent this cart abandonment email and they checked out. What I've recognized with the on-site experience is let's leverage that same experience, that segment of cart abandoners that you're sending an email to. Well, let's talk about them before they even leave the website. Let's also talk about them when they return to the website.
Right.
Let's identify them and take them from, I mentioned up to 30%. I have one chart from a client here that has a 23.64 conversion rate with exiting visitors. Have an item in the cart. But when we do send them the last ditch effort cart abandonment promotion, they have a 29.41%.
So what are you doing that's a little different there? Explain that for everybody, because I think, honestly, the typical, as I mentioned, is just to send them an email. But it sounds like you're customizing the site, personalizing the site when they return in some manner.
Yeah, so we build a visitor segment, just like you build the cart abandonment email segment, but you have that same segment for the website visitor, so that in the instance you're bringing up, when a visitor returns to the website, we know who they are. They're in that segment, and we show them a promotion right away, saying, "Welcome back. You left this item in your cart. Are you ready to check out?"
Right. That's amazing, because most people, well, I think there's two thoughts. I have a lot of things I'm thinking about right now that you're sparking a lot of great ideas here. But I think the first thing is that too many consumers have been trained to abandon cart to get a better deal. So before they abandon cart, being able to tell them, hey, if you wait, you're not going to get a better deal. This is our best deal. And making that very clear before they abandon. Yes. You have a point on that?
No, I'm saying
Okay.
thumbs up. Yes.
So I have seen that perform extremely well, because I mean, it was hilarious last week on LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn to the point where it might be annoying for people, but I will say that the reality is that there was a couple of posts that really blew up last week, not of my own, but of peers that I saw. And one of them was that it said, consumers in 2020 would abandon cart and then get an email with the discount and be like, okay, yes. And then it's marketers in 2024. I know they go add to cart, immediately close, and then wait for 24 hours for that email, because they all know it's coming. Consumers, it was like new to them in COVID. Everybody started deploying this. And now what we're seeing, and it happened before COVID, people were doing it, but people really caught on the more that they ordered. And people were deploying during COVID as sales ramped up online very quickly. They were all deploying the same tactics and doing it, honestly, kind of in a messy manner, right? To the point where they were all sending the same emails because it was Klaviyo flows that were set up easily, right?
And that gets into what's the best practices you set up, the foundational best practices for a retailer? When it comes to the email marketing and SMS world, what I was touching on is that they figured that game out. They said, look, let's just make sure we set up this cart abandonment email, and all the other workflows and automations, they're great. But if we really want to show that we have revenue attribution, let's make sure we're sending a cart abandonment email.
Yeah.
So let's look at how do we translate that to the on-site experience. And
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying is it's if you do, if you want to show that you can increase sales for a client or yourself, you need to set up a cart abandonment promotion and most importantly, a return visitor
Mm-hmm.
promotion, messaging, however you want to do it, banner, slide out, embedded that says, welcome back.
Right.
If you're
At
ready to
that point,
purchase and make it
at that
easy.
point, it's a convenience boost more than anything else, right? So you don't have to offer a discount at that
No,
point. The person came back to your site. So don't degrade your brand. Don't chew away your margin.
nope.
Instead, at that point, hey, we've made it easy for you to check out right now,
That's
right?
it. And that is that second segment. You do that, you can take someone, you can increase their sales conversion rate by, 5-10%
Mhm.
like that.
Which
The
is huge, right? I mean, you think
huge.
about that you've gotten a massive return on investment from a tool like yours that can do that.
So that's really what's top of mind that I've been focusing on. You mentioned the games, right? That's
Mhm.
totally a game. Add it to the cart, leave, wait for an email. Be sure to give them your email so you can get that cart abandonment email. And when we talk about how do you provide value, we've talked about in the past consumer psychology and understanding their needs, and that's where Amazon has nailed it.
Yeah.
And understanding, customer centric, understand their needs. How do we
Mhm.
replicate that experience as one aspect? But my main point is retailers, do they accept and understand present day that people will shop their website, but will very much the same as they used to search for coupon codes or add their email to get that coupon. They will go to Amazon to see if
Yeah.
it's available on Amazon and if they can get Prime free shipping and get it the next
Mhm.
day. And if
Yeah.
returns are a pain in the butt, not a concern because they know Amazon's returns.
Well, look, I literally went to Apple's website and I was going to buy these because my wife has been working from home and I could literally, she's not in the room today right now, thank God, but I could literally like high five her right here. And we both can't be on a call at the same time. And she's a very loud Zoom talker. So it's one of those things where I needed noise canceling headphones and the AirPods weren't getting it done. So I was going to order these. But then today, yesterday and today is Prime Day.
Yep.
And I went on Amazon just because I was like, yeah, whatever. And I saw they had them for like $150 off. I could get them delivered overnight. They literally showed up at like 3 in the morning. My doorbell went off. I was like, what's going on? And I was just shocked. I was like, okay, so I can save 150 bucks and have it tomorrow. Why would I buy it from Apple? It didn't make sense, right? So it's happening even at that massive brand scale. It's definitely happening at a smaller scale brand too.
And I think people trust larger brands less than smaller brands or, DTC brands because the bigger brands they're too big. They don't get,
Mhm.
they're not going to get it to you the next day.
Yeah.
Um, and, we talk about what message do you communicate on that cart abandoner that is exiting your website. That's where you come in. That's where we want experts like you testing the message. So let's have 5 different variations of this exiting message saying, hey, get it, you're leaving. If you check out in the next 5 minutes, you will get this, you know, at this date.
Yeah.
Speak the Amazon language to these consumers that are leaving your website and test which message. Like we have a exit one we're testing right now system wide, which has 4 general messages at the bottom, like
Mm.
shipping, returns, that can direct them to answer the top, 5 core consumer needs.
Mhm.
But why not A/B test? Like I love how you're A/B testing all of the experiences on site, the buttons, the language, the
Mhm.
location, the spacing. What I'm excited about is testing this experience of messaging up
Mhm.
in these visitor segments.
Yeah, and I think message tests are they're fairly easy to run, right?
Yeah.
And B, they can be really impactful. So, if you look at that quadrant and you want impactful and easy, like that, there's messaging almost always fits in there. The hard part of messaging is coming up with variants that actually move the needle, right? Because you really need to put some effort into that. And I think a lot of folks just test whatever they think of first. And that always, normally is not the best way to handle it. But, I mean, I think really at this phase, right? This is what I would call the decision making and conversion phase of a buyer's journey. They're really asking themselves a handful of questions, and you need to be able to answer those. And if you haven't already and they left, you still could answer those in a cart abandonment email, right? You could try to answer them when they come back to the site. But really, at this point, if people are deserting, it's because they don't have the information they need, or they've just decided that it's not a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, you're not going to be able to convince them otherwise. That's well, I would just let those go. Quite honestly, I would focus my effort and tailor the messaging here to answering the questions for people who are missing those pieces of information. So those might be questions like, "What's in it for me?" Right? So they could be like, "Okay, well, it's Prime Day. What's in it for me? I'm saving $150." It could be, "I get it overnight." It could be, "Hey, there's a free gift with purchase right now." It could be, "Well, I'm going to be joining this group of like-minded individuals, and it's going to say something about me." There's a lot of tangible and intangible things that a consumer is thinking about here. And they're also saying, "Hey, maybe it's super easy for me to purchase. Maybe it's not." Right? Maybe they got to your page and they couldn't search for what they wanted. They just couldn't find the product. So they didn't even get to a cart to abandon, right? They just abandoned because they were on your PDP and it was just too difficult to figure out what they needed. Or, the last thing consumers want to do is reach out to customer support. Okay. If they have taken that step, they likely are going to buy if you can answer that question. Okay. So, one thing to do is talk to your customer service teams and say, what are the questions people are asking you? And if you can look at those questions and start seeing some trends and patterns, then you can preemptively answer those. You can
That's a
add them
great
to your
tip.
email flows, etc.
That's a huge tip right there. We do the exact same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, as you can't be product led growth if you don't know what problems need solving.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna add that little hack. I hadn't thought about that for our clients in terms of
Mm-hmm.
looking at the tickets. That's a good one because you know it's hard to understand well what questions people are asking internally.
Yeah.
That and I love the what's in it for me one. And
Mm-hmm.
why do people go to Amazon? We know what's in it for. The shipping, and obviously there's the basics that we know consumers what needs they have. Shipping is still the number one card abandonment reason. um Ease of payment.
Yeah.
Well, that can be solved with, hey, we communicating that throughout shop pay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Shopify, the shipping widget is a tricky one. We're working through that one.
Yeah. Well, even doing like an estimated delivery date, right? And saying, "Hey, looking at their zip code, ideally, there are Shopify plugins that do this, but
Yeah.
looking at their zip code and saying, okay, it's going to be 3 days to get it to you, right? And you could even guarantee a delivery date, which is basically what Amazon does. You could say you will have it by Wednesday, and if you don't have it by Wednesday, you just refund them the shipping fee, right? Yeah, you're out a little bit, but it's better than giving them a discount, and you're going to convert way higher.
Well, the thing about Amazon is you trust when they
Mm-hmm.
tell you it's going to
Yeah.
be there.
Logistics is
Trust
what
them.
Amazon does. That's
And
it.
I bring up Shopify again because they're the largest you know e-commerce platform competing right now. They added Shop Pay to try to
Mhm.
answer that one question. Have you seen what they're doing with their shipping uh,
Yeah.
validation,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is really smart. And I think I'm really surprised other shipping apps haven't jumped on that quicker because they have all the data. Why don't they have the more widgets communicating that?
Yeah, it's interesting because there are apps that will pull the different providers, and that's really all it takes is to say, okay, I'm shipping from zip code A to zip code B with this level of service. How long will that take? It's not a difficult proposition to do. The data is there. Okay. Um, you could even do something like 2 day, you just call it 2 day shipping. They all have 2 day shipping. And then you just add 3 days, right? A day for us to get it out the door and then 2 days in transit. Um, there's ways to hack that I've seen that work decently well, but there are providers out there now that can do this for you without a whole lot of fuss as an app on Shopify.
When you talk about what's in it for me, this is
Mhm.
where, you know, working with retailers, you say, hey, look, if you have a cart value of X, are you willing to provide expedited shipping for free?
Mhm.
That's where you really get into the more nuanced.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of not doing discounts, not doing a dollar or percentage off. Okay. I've been beating that drum for a decade. I think it devalues your brand. It sets you up to be a discount brand moving forward. It eats into your margins. Consumers will actually, they've tested that they think less of the product when you discount it. Um, so, what I really recommend you do is add benefits. And one of those benefits is free shipping
Yep.
because consumers, when they could have paid for something like shipping, but don't, this also works for something like a free gift with purchase. They don't look at it as a discount, right? And it's an opportunity for you as a brand to do something that has more perceived value to the consumer than the actual cost to you as the brand. Um, Most e-commerce brands I know are charging a little more for shipping than what it actually costs them, right? You got to pack and pick and pack, etc., storage fees, whatever, right? Especially if you're using one of those third-party fulfillment centers, they are definitely, I mean, how are they making their margin, right? That's exactly it.
Everyone takes a piece of the margin.
Yeah. So if you think about that, you can easily say, okay, well, I'll give you free shipping, and that might cost you $3, $4 on a larger order, but it could also entice that customer to increase the average order value, to add some stuff to the cart, because to them that it's more valuable to get it for free in 2 days by giving you extra $15 and losing that to the shipping provider in their mind, right?
I've always preached, look at, take some of your marketing dollars and invest it into your customer experience. And shipping is the number one area. So you talk about eating away margins. Well, offset those margins by literally taking from your marketing budget and add it in. That is going to be
Well,
the best
customer
investment.
experience. I mean, this is where, you mentioned the goods digital experience optimization. The reason that we call it that, and we have moved from what has we've done for a decade, which is was called our conversion growth program. That was what we were known for, and probably still are. But we have transitioned to what we're calling digital experience optimization, specifically because of that word conversion. It is one point in that journey. And if we only optimize for conversions, I mean, I- you're leaving so much revenue on the table. You are forgetting about all the people that dropped off that funnel in steps 1, 2, 3 before they got to Z, right? Which is the actual checkout conversion point. And also, even after the conversion, there is so much that could happen that you could create a lifetime customer, increase your lifetime value to reduce your customer service costs, reduce your return rate. There is so much that could be done to reassure customers, right? Because a post purchase experience either triggers regret or it reassures that they're in the right, they did the right decision. So you really need to be paying to all attention to all of this and not just the conversion point. And unfortunately, as conversion optimization has become more commoditized, you're seeing a whole bunch of these providers come in that are focusing on exclusively, here's 10 things to get somebody to check out right now. And you're like, well, that's great, but what about anybody who doesn't get to that point? Or what about the customers that and I don't want to say people always try to trick people. There are black hat techniques, and that unfortunately are part of any of these digital marketing, ecosystems. Like SEO has always gotten a bad rap for having black hat techniques, right? Same thing with CRO. There's a lot of stuff you could do. We've had a lot of great conversations lately about how to do ethical subscriptions, because there's so many brands out there that will say, hey, you know what, we'll subscribe you, and it automatically renews, and you save X% by becoming a subscriber, right? The problem is they don't send an email before it goes out. They don't let you, they just charge you, hoping, their hope is that you don't see that charge, you don't pay attention to it, or it's like, it was $20, $25, I'll get to it before next month, and you totally forget the next day, right? How many times has that happened to all of us, that there's a TV commercials now from credit companies
Yeah.
saying, we'll help you reduce we'll cancel them for you. I mean, it's gotten that bad that they can spend millions of dollars on TV campaigns around this problem. So it's something where you can do it ethically and have a consumer for life but that's not just the conversion point, right? You got to have the right messaging before you get there. You have to have the right messaging in the onboarding after, and then you have to have the right messaging every recurring cycle. So there's a lot to think about in that digital experience besides just that conversion point. And I think the industry has really been commoditized by, we'll just call them Twitter bros, who really go online and just say, do these 5 things and you'll convert higher. And of course, brands want that. So they're hungry for that. But it's not very effective.
The As you talk about retention and lifecycle marketing, you have the visitor segment of return customers.
Mm.
Some of that has had a positive experience, or some of that has purchased and waiting for the delivery. When they come to the website, you want to treat them as if they're a valued customer.
Yeah.
And so you do that through having that visitor segment and creating messaging and campaigns specifically to them.
Right. Look, I'm obviously segmenting your email lists and based on actions people take it's a must. It used to be what I would call a graduate level course, and now it's elementary school. If you're not doing that, you know, you might as well find another job, because that's such an easy layup, and all of these tools make it so easy now to do.
So that is where we are today with the visitor experience. Is that, and that's what we rolled out with our workflows and visitor segmentation, is this concept of, hey, you can't treat every visitor the same.
Right.
And just the success we've had the last 10, 15 years with email marketing automation, let's now bring that to the website experience. And so now that we're live, I'm really excited, Jon, to start testing these different segments and messaging, and really excited to see what, I think most importantly, that exiting visitor, what can we message to really engage them in a positive experience, to answer those questions. Like, what is it? What's in it for me? What did we not answer for you?
I think there's a lot of good potential IP in there for you, but I hope you start sharing that data as it comes in, because I could see so much good learnings out of that.
I want to learn with you.
Yeah, do it.
We've focused on the technology building this the last 3 years, and now we want experts really testing and providing this out to the market, and educating the market the same way that the email marketing world, as you
Mhm.
mentioned, it used to have a graduate degree. Now it's out of the box standard. So,
Mhm.
well, that was a good catch up, John. What do we at?
Yeah.
3 minutes, I
Yeah.
think.
About a half hour.
Sorry, I've learned to like keep, or the brain kind of starts trailing off.
Unfortunately, short attention spans, but
Yeah.
um, this was great. I appreciate you having me today. I'm really excited for what you have coming down the line, and can't wait to do some testing with it.
Okay, next postings will be some A/B tests for the crowd
Okay.
on these cart abandoning visitor segments. Also, John, where can our listeners find your new book?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. thegood.com/BTC for behind the click. So the letters BTC. And then actually, if you go and use that link um, and use the code BTC podcast 50, so again, BTC podcast 50, you will get 50% off whatever variant of the book you want: print, hardcover, paperback, ebook, all of the above. You can also obviously get it on Amazon. It was a #1 bestseller for about a month in marketing and consumer behavior categories. So I was stoked on that. It actually had a better launch the first week than Gary Vaynerchuk's new book. So that was a huge win considering how much effort and how big of a crowd he has behind him. So yeah, it's done really well, and I'm really excited about getting it in everyone's hands. So
Can I
let me, if
add
you do get it, let me know what you think.
can I add an extra bonus for our guest today on this? And I'm going to volunteer you for this.
Love it.
What's in it for them? John will personally autograph
Oh yeah.
any hard copies that come through.
If you do that, I will happily do it. Email Eric or I when you buy, so I know it came through that channel, and I will easily do it. Or hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm so easy to find. Just look for the Good or Jon MacDonald, and you'll find me on there. But
Okay.
yeah, really excited.
Well, congratulations. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, John, and have a great day.
Thank you.